Hello everyone, this is Basileus, reporting back for duty. Hope you're all doing great. Hope your Christmas preparations are on the way, because at the end of the day, no matter how much we love video games, real life comes first. It's always better to spend some time with real people, with the family especially, than playing video games. This goes without saying, I would say. So, just to return to our subject for the day, this is the second episode of our series on how Dice's Battlefield 1 Photogrammetry was developed and why it outshines many titles, many AAA titles, as a matter of fact, even today. So in episode 1, we explored how Battlefield 1 used photogrammetry to capture the real world and inject it directly into a video game. But how does a rock in a field become a rock in a Battlefield game? Today, we're going inside DICE's full photogrammetry workflow, step by step, to see exactly how those astonishing assets were made. Before we continue, just as a heads up, I'm no expert in the field. Everything that I'm saying here is based on my own research, meaning that I am bound to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. If I do make such a mistake and you spot it, please let me know in the comments. I will post it, I will pin it, and make sure that everyone is aware of it. So, the first step of the process, the capture phase. It all begins with the most low-tech part of the process, taking pictures. But not just a few, hundreds of them. Artists photograph an object from every possible angle. Overhead, low angles, far away, close up, you name it. Each photo overlaps the others, giving the software enough parallax to reconstruct depth. Think of it like building a 3D puzzle using nothing but the differences between two images. For BF1, artists captured everything. Rocks, trees, walls, mud, sandbags, even weapon surfaces. If they could photograph it, they could digitize it. So when all this photographing comes to an end, we go to step 2 of the process. Step 2 is to reconstruct reality. This happens inside photogrammetry software, like, for example, Agisoft Metashape or Reality Capture. It begins by analyzing all those photos to find matching features. Stuff like cracks, bumps, scratches, anything you can think of, and reconstructs a dense point cloud based on those matching features. That point cloud then becomes a high poly mesh, often with millions of triangles, as is expected when we're talking about high definition pictures. This is beautiful because it's based on real life assets on one hand, but on the other hand, it's far too heavy for a real-time game engine. So this leads us to the third step of the process, which is none other than the cleaning of the mesh. What does that mean? It means that raw scans are messy. They contain holes, they contain floating geometry, they contain rough edges, they contain all sorts of noise. So DICE's artists fix the model manually. They remove debris, they smooth errors, they seal the gaps. By doing that, the goal isn't, of course, to change the nature of the object. The goal is to refine it so it looks real and, most importantly, it runs well. And this leads me to the next part of the process, which is the retopology and the optimization of the object. What does that mean? It means that once the high poly scan is clean, artists build a low poly version. This is the process called retopology. They handcraft a new mesh with far fewer triangles, shaping it to match the silhouette and major forms of the original scan. This low poly mesh is what actually goes into the game. The details are preserved using a technique called normal map baking, which is transferring the complexity of millions of polygons into a simple texture. Which leads me to the next part of the process, which is the fifth step, meaning talking about textures, which is none other than the texture work and the materials to be used on each item. So to do that, artists extract albedo, they extract roughness, they extract normal information from the scan's photos. These texture maps define how the material reacts to light, how shiny it is, how rough it is, how much color variation it has. GUICE calibrates all these maps to real-world physical values, ensuring that when light hits the object in-game, it behaves accurately, just as it would outdoors in the sun. And talking about light, it leads me to the final part of the process, which is none other than bringing everything into the graphics engine itself, into Frostbite. So the artists start by importing the finalized asset into Frostbite. This is where the scanned rock, the scanned wall, or the scanned tree stump or whatever is placed into a hand-crafted battlefield, lit, weathered, and perfectly blended with the environment. These are the environments that we are playing on. These are the maps that we are playing on. All of Battlefield 1's maps use static lighting, even though sometimes they, because of the unbelievable immersion of the game, you may get the impression that there is actually dynamic lighting. There's not. Everything is static. So in Battlefield 1, static lighting was pre-calculated for every map, meaning it was baked into light maps. And this worked beautifully in conjunction with the very detailed photogrammetry work that DICE did. The result? Highly detailed objects, lit perfectly without a performance hit. And at the end of the day, that's all there is to it. That's how a simple pile of rocks, or a crumbling trench, or a crumbling building becomes a digital piece of history. Captured from the real world, refined by artists, optimized by engineers, and placed into some of the most atmospheric battlefields ever seen in a video game. In the next episode, we'll answer the big question. Why does Battlefield 1 still look so damn good in 2025? And, or to be more precise, in 2026. I'm sure nothing will change over the next few days until we get into the new year. And why haven't most modern shooters surpassed it? I am Basileus. I hope you find this one entertaining. I hope you find this one educational, perhaps. I hope I will see you in the next one. If you really like this kind of content, please consider giving a like and subscribing. It helps immensely. It shows not only the algorithm, but also it shows me personally that you do like this kind of content. And I hope I will see you on the next one. Until then, take care, enjoy the festive season, and wishes for a great new year ahead. Bye-bye.